What's up, guys? Corey here with Titan Lawn and Landscape. Let's talk today about pricing and your landscaping and lawn care business. So many of you are in the throes of pricing out all your lawn care. I know I've been doing a lot of bids, a lot of commercial bids for the season, and trying to track numbers and estimate profits for the season. So anyways, I want to talk to you a little bit about your lawn care pricing and how, when you break it down, your business is no different than Walmart or Target. Lawn care pricing is absolutely no different from Walmart or any other retailer that sells products. So what do I mean by that? So when you guys are pricing out your lawn care, there's a ton of different philosophies behind it. And I know some guys just bid by the hour. I know other guys that bid by $45 a man hour when they're on the property and mark up their material 6%. But in the end, all it really comes down to is what it costs you as the owner of the business to produce the work. So that's your cost of goods sold. So I've talked about this in other videos. What do I mean by that? So you basically have to figure out your cost to produce the work. For example, mowing. Mowing is a low margin service compared to landscaping, lawn treatment, snow removal. What do I mean? So when you are pricing out mowing, basically, or when I price out mowing, I just did this the other day, basically I figure out what it costs me to produce that service. So if I'm on a commercial property and it takes, let's say 20 man hours to mow it, and also, it's not only the man hours to mow it, it's the man hours to get there. You got to factor in your indirect travel time as well that's attributed to that property. So basically, all I do is I take my man hours times 20 times the cost to produce it. It may be $18 an hour. 20 times 18, whatever that equals up to, plus the fuel I'm using, plus the indirect time. So with mowing, it's very simple. It's basically gas and labor. There's not material involved in it besides fuel. So anyways, basically, if I come to a cost of $200 to mow a property, that's my cost. That's what it costs me as the owner of the business to produce it. I'm then just going to mark that up to get to a certain gross margin. Maybe it's 40%, maybe it's 50%. So if it costs me $200 and I want a gross margin of 50%, that means I've got to double the cost, and that's what I charge. So if it costs me $200, then I'm going to charge $400. Now guys, mowing is low profit margin stuff. I mean, most commercial mowing is going to go for 35 to 40%. You can get 45 to 50% on small commercial, but the bigger properties, the larger the properties go, the bigger they get, the lower those properties get bid down on. So this pricing is this, doesn't matter if it's landscaping. If I'm doing landscaping bed maintenance, I'm doing the same exact pricing structure. I'm figuring out exactly my cost. So my labor, my fuel, any material, I'm getting that cost of, say it's $1,000 to go in and redo a landscaping bed. We're going to redo it, we're going to throw in plants, we're going to throw in mulch. I'm going to figure out the cost, say it's $1,000, then I'm going to put a gross margin on it. So typically around 45 to 50%. So if it costs me $1,000, as the owner of the business, I'm going to mark that up to $2,000 to get to a 50% gross profit. So why is this no different than Walmart or Target? It's no different because every business has a cost of goods sold. So Walmart simply buys a product. So say they buy a product for $200, they mark that product up just like I'm talking about to get to a gross margin. So if they buy a product for $200 and they sell it for $400, that's a 50% gross margin. It is the same math. No, it does not matter whether it's retail, selling a product, or selling a service. Guys, I get that we're selling a service a lot of the time and not necessarily a product. Obviously, mowing's a service, lawn treatments are a service, but it does not matter. The pricing and the science behind the pricing does not change one bit from business to business. So what you got to figure out is when you're pricing this stuff, and I get asked all the time, how do you price this? How do you price that? You first got to figure out the true cost to produce it. Now, guys, this is and it's really no different from a single operator to an owner operator to a business that uses employees. I, as the owner of my business, am probably only actually doing the labor maybe 10% of the time. I like to go out and I like to help my guys. I love doing the physical labor, but I can't manage the business and do the physical labor at the same time. It just doesn't work. You can't do everything. So that's why I hire employees to handle the labor side of it. So every single landscaping job, every single snow removal bid, it's all based on my cost plus the markup. So I just did a commercial landscaping bid. It was about a $70,000 landscaping bid, or I'm sorry, lawn care snow removal bid. So they wanted mowing, they wanted treatments, they wanted bed maintenance, they wanted snow removal. I went in, I figured out, okay, what's it going to cost me to produce the mowing? What's it going to cost me to produce the bed maintenance? What's it going to cost me to produce the snow removal and the treatments? I then went in, priced out each service based on my gross margin I shoot for my different services, got a blended gross margin, looked at it, compared it against my other bids, and I know if my bidding is accurate, and it's a certain line of commercial work in this area, I know that blended it's going to have to be at a 40 to 45% margin, or 40 to 45% margin blended across the entire, all the services. So it's different. It can be different from market to market. Obviously, you're going to have to figure out what your gross margin is in your market. But once you start bidding based on gross margin and you know the cost to produce it, you're really going to start being able to make some really smart business decisions and not just winging it per se and say, oh, I'm just going to bid this one at $700. Well, why? Why are you bidding it at $700? Are you bidding at $700 because that's what you think other guys are going to do? Are you bidding at $700 because that's where you think you can get the work? Are you bidding at $700 because you know exactly that job is $700 because it costs you $400 and you are marking it up to $700 to get to the gross margin you need? So in my other videos too, I've talked about gross margin being extremely important, because when you know the gross margin on your services and you're tracking all of your gross margin across all of your services, you then know exactly where your gross profit is across the different services for your P&L. So for example, for every $100,000 you do in business, if you know the gross margin's 45%, you're going to have $45,000 left over to pay your expense load, pay your fixed costs, rent, insurance, your salary as the owner. So the one battle I have is, I talk to guys about this a lot, and I really believe it's just so important if you're going to be in business, maximize profit, and be a long-term operation. I've talked to guys and they're like, well, I'm just not big enough to track gross profit. You're never too small to start doing this, because once you start doing this and you start tracking your gross profit, it is going to open your eyes to the different profit levels and different income streams in your business. So you're going to figure out what services are most profitable, what services aren't, what services create the most headaches. If you got a service that's a big headache and you say, man, I want to make more profit on this, you know, maybe you're at a 60% gross margin, bump it up to 70, 75. If you get the work, great. If you don't, you don't. But at least you know you're making money on it. So guys, going back to it, Walmart, Target, they do the same exact thing. They know they know what their cost of goods sold is, and they mark it up from there. That's exactly what I do in my business. That's exactly what a lot of businesses, successful businesses, do, is they know the true cost to produce the work, they mark it up, and they know where their expense load is. So Anyways, guys, if you guys got any questions, leave a comment below. Hit the subscribe button. Appreciate you guys checking out my channel. Have a great spring.